Okay, so let's look at how we create sequences, and we're going to look first at indexing operations. So I'm going to um, make a new project here. I'll call it indexing demo. Open code. And I'll call it indexingdemo.py. And just as a demonstration, I'm just going to create I'm just going to make a string, and I'm going to show you that a string initially is a sequence. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to say print text, and let's try to print the first letter of text. Text is going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And what we're going to do is we're going to print the first letter of that. So I'm going to run this. And notice that it prints B. Well, why is that? Well, let's try printing 0 and see what happens. Now we get A. And in fact, just to show you how this works, I'm going to say, with these square braces, I'm going to print 0, 1, 2, 3 and see what happens. And we can see we get A, B, with each one of these, we get A, B, C, D. So this square brace is called indexing. And what it's doing is getting this element, this numeric element out. So this is saying, give me the 0th element of text. Give me the first element of text. Give me the element is at index 2 of text. And the thing is that this is all going to be that these indices are 0 based. That means A is 0, B is 1, C is, oops, I switched around. C is 2, D is 3. So, and you're going to find this in a lot of programming, is that whenever you have a sequence or some kind of collection, the first element is 0 rather than 1. Let's try making a list. So I'm going to make a variable, my list, and the way you make a list is with square braces. And I'll put some names in here. And so we have a bunch of names in here. And so what I'm going to do is then do the same thing. I'm going to say print. This time I'm going to say my list. Oops, sorry. My list of index 0. Print one. And just do the same thing kind of over and over. 2 and 3. And now I'll run that. And we can see that once again, these indexes are pulling this out. Now, the nice thing is that this is now one variable. If I had 1,000 things, I wouldn't have to make, 1,000 variables. I could just do it all in one. Of course, typing this all out 1,000 times would be kind of difficult, but at least it'd be a little bit more convenient than writing out multiple variables. We're going to learn how to use loops and other programming constructs later that will allow us to do this thing, do these things a little bit more conveniently. But for now, we're now seeing that, okay, my list has 4 things in it, and I can access all of them. So this was a list. These are called lists, and the square braces specify lists. These are strings. So, and you can do this with either single or double quotes. This does exactly the same thing. Single or double quotes are equivalent. So this works just as well. And then the next thing are tuples. And again, I'm going to make up a variable name. And for a tuple, we use parentheses. And note that you can mix things up here. And I'm going to do the same kind of print to show this, but I'm just going to replace with my tuple. And that's the same thing here, right? I could put, you can mix and match your sequences as far as types. And you can see, here's 1A, blah, whatever I throw in here, this index will pull that one out. So that can be kind of convenient if you have something that's kind of complex. So I'm going to experiment now with just this list and realize that these things that we're going to work with all lists. What would I get if I were to put in a -1? Well, let's run that. So I'm going to run that. And notice that with a -1, I get Aaron. What will I get with a -2? I get the 555. What would I get with a -3? I get Sue. So with the minus numbers in Python, what happens is you start counting backwards from the beginning. So -1 is the last element in the list. And this can be convenient because if I were to add something in here, for example, and run it, notice that -1 will still point to the end. And that can be useful if you just want, because otherwise what you would have to do is you'd have to figure out how many elements are in here and then subtract 1 from that and do a lot of complex calculation. This is a very convenient way to get to counting from the right side. So that's using -1. So there's a program in your book that illustrates using some of this. And we're going to go over that now, just to give an idea of how these things can be used in a more complex program. So I'm going to make a new program here, and it's really program 2-1 in the book. Let's see, where am I at? Okay, make a program, we'll call it listing 2-1.py. And I'm going to build this program up from scratch. using it just so that you can see what the thought process is of building this program. So what this program we want to do is I'm going to just put a comment in here. And what we want to do is make a program that inputs year, month, day as numbers. So month, if it was January, it'd be 1. You'd also use enter 1 and then the date would just be entered as numbers. And output the text-based date. So when you got done, you would have like 1 January 1970 placed out. So or January 1st 1970 would be, for example, what the date would come out. So that way there'll be the number will have an ordinal next to it, first, second, third, thing like that, and then the month will be fully spelled out. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create first a list. We're going to call our list months, and it's going to be we can tell it's a list because it has these square braces, and this is just separate. We have several different strings separated by commas, and so we have January, February, March, all the way through to December. So those are the months as a list. In fact, just to see what that would look like, we're just going to let's just print months and see what happens. So I'm going to do that and run it, and you can see that when you print it, it actually just displays the the list itself the way we have it written here. So, and if I were to say print months of 0, I would just get January. If I print months of 1, I would get February. If I print months of -1, I would get December. So I can use this indexing to get at any one of these I want once I have this list built. And then we need the endings. So I'm going to make another variable called endings. And and then this could be first, and then I could put and then second would end, or actually it would be just st for first, or the ending would be st for first, and then nd for second, and then rd for third, and then fourth would be th, and then fifth would be th, and then sixth would be th, and let's see, so first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So we need about 17 of those. That's going to be painful, but we'll do that this way for now. So let's do it this way. We'll say first, second, third, and then to get my ths, I'm just going to go bring this to the next line, which Python will let me do, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's do it in fives. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21. So let's see. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. And then we're going to need, starting here, #21st, #22nd, #23rd. #24th, #25th, #26th, #27th, #28th, #29th, #30th, and then these three will again be 20. And actually, we just need 31st because there's only the 31st. So those are all our endings. Well, so I'm gonna I'm going to say, well, let's see, what's endings of so realize that we're zero based. So this belongs to first, but because it's zero based, we're gonna have to subtract 1. So let's say that we had date day, say day number is equal to 1. Then in order to get our ending, is equal to endings of day number, and we need to subtract 1 because 1 should really be first. And so then we will print ordinal. And so let's see what we get. So we're going to see what number is here, and then we'll see if we get the right ordinal. So I'm going to run that. And there we go. We get first. So if that's 1, it gets first. Let's see what happens with 3. It should be RD. Yep, we get RD. So let's say we want to show this as first, second, third, etc. We could do this now. We could say day number and plus endings of day number minus 1. Let's see what happens with that. Well, shoot, we get an error because this is an int. So what we need is we need to say, we need that to be a string. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to say day is equal to the string 3. And then we're going to say day number is equal to int of day. And so what happens now is we have the day as a string. This will convert that to a number, and then we can put day plus endings. And why are we doing that? Well, we can concatenate a string, and endings gives us back a string. But we can't concatenate an integer and a string. So this way, I have it as a string. I've got the same numeric value, which I use to find the ordinal, and then I can put it together. So now let me run that, and we see now we get third. If I change this to 7 and run it, I get 7th. If I put 1 in here, I get first. So okay, this is kind of cool. Well, since this is a string, I could just get that from the user so I don't have to keep doing this. And so input, and I'm going to ask them for the day as a number between 1 and 31. And so here, now I can put, if I put 5, I get 5th. Run it again. If I put 1, I get first. If I run it again, I put, say, 31, I get 31st. So I'm getting the numbers with the right ending on it by using this list. I set up this list, and then I get the ending, and then it will take my numeric value and report back that value. Well, let's see. I've got the month, so I should be able to do that too. Let's try that. Let's say month is equal to input month, and what we want is 1 through 12. So now we're getting the month. Well, how can I get that? Well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say month number, a new variable, is equal to the int of month. And then how can I get the actual text on that? We've got the months up here, so I can use indexing to find that. So I can say month name maybe is equal to this variable months, and I'm going to use my indexing of month number. And then I'm going to print month name. Let's try that. So we're asking the user for a number between 1 and 12 to get the month. We're converting that into an integer. Then we're using that integer as an index to find the month inside of this list. And don't get confused here. The square braces here are being used as an index because they're next to a variable name. Here, these square braces are defining a list. So this is actually defining the list to begin with, and this is saying, hey, get me this element from this list. So sometimes that can be kind of confusing. It matters where these square braces are put. So if it's next to a variable that's a list, it's saying that you want to get a particular element of it. So we're taking that integer number, that would be, some value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, and then it will pull that value out. And then here we're going to display it. So I'm going to run this now. Let's see. Oops. Put the input down here. And so here we can see that I put in 5 and I get 5th, and now we're sitting at the month. So I'm going to put 1, and we would expect this to be January. But I get February. Why do I get February? Well, let's put a debug in here and run that in debug mode. So I'm going to put the debug, and then I'm going to go to run, start debugging. That's F5, so I'm going to hit F5. Oops. And I'm going to use Python debugging. And let's see what happens. So get through the day part. And now I'm sitting here and I'm at this month one. And then we have step over, step into, and step out. We're only going to be able to use step into and step out when we have functions. So right now we're just going to do the step over. So I'm going to step over, and it brings up, it's doing this line right here. It's asking me for a month. So I'm going to put 1 in and hit enter. Now I'm sitting here, and we can, if I hover over month, I can see that it is the string 1. Month number has not been initialized yet, and in fact I can see my variables also over here to the right. Let me expand that so we can see it. And so here we can see day is 5, day number ended up being 5. We have month, which is 1, and that's where we're at this point. So now I'm going to step over 1 more. We can see month number has become 1. So month was the string. You see these quotes around it. That's the string 1. Month number has now been converted to the actual number 1. So now we're passing that number 1 to months. Well, we can see that months, index 0 is January. index 1 is February. So that's the problem, is that, right now month number is 1. And if we look, and the nice thing about Visual Studio Code is if you hover over the variables in debug mode, it will actually show you what they are. And index 1 is February. It should be January, but it's February. So what's the problem? The problem is that right here, remember, we are asked the user to input numbers between 1 and 12, but the computer understands January to be 0. So we have to adjust for that as programmers. So what we need is a -1 to be there. So I'm going to stop debugging, and then now I'm going to run this again. I'm going to run with F5. I'm going to pick debugging with Python. I'll put in the day. This time I'll put 3, and I get 3rd. That's good. Now I'm down here at my stop point. I'm going to step over with F10. I'll put in 1 again. Month is 1. I will step over 1 more. Month number is 1, but now we're subtracting 1 from here. And so now, because of that, 1 minus 1 will be 0, and it should pick up January. So if I look at months, 0 will be January. So by adjusting for the difference between what I've asked the user for and what the computer needs, I've now adjusted this, and month name is January, which is now correct. Step over 1 more time, and it prints out the right date. So when we make lists, we're often doing that as programmers. We make the list, the list is automatically has the first element is the 0th element, but we can't ask the user to put in we could have also fixed it maybe by doing this. We could have put 0 to 11. But that would have been very confusing for most users. They're like, the 0th month, I don't know what that is. I want January. They'll put 1 anyway, and then they'll get February here. And so because of the way humans understand these number systems, humans tend to be 1s based, but computers are 0 based. So the first element is 0. And so then this will fix it. So I'm going to run it again with Control F5. Now, just say the 3rd month, January, February, March. That should give me, oops, let's put it through here. That gives me March. So now it seems to be tracking. Maybe run it one more time. And let's see, don't really worry about that. And then put 12, and that should give me December. Okay, so now I have a program which is getting the elements where I want them. I had to do little adjustments by putting -1s in here. That's what those are for. We have to adjust for the positions. And now we can maybe put this together in an entire program. So maybe I'll get rid of this for now. I'll get rid of these print statements, which are really just there to test. And I often do that. I'll put temporary print statements just to make sure I'm getting what I want. And instead, I'm going to put it all together so that I'm going to print the month name plus a space plus the ordinal plus a comma and a space, and then plus the year. I don't have the year yet, so I need the year. Year is equal to input, and and for this I can just bring it in as a string. I don't need to modify it anymore. And let's try running this program, see what happens. So now I say, well, let's see, I'm going to say 5 January 2021 and January 5th 2021. So these numbers were now put together in this format. And then maybe what I might do is rather than having this all mixed up here, I might say, what I really want is I want to get the year first, and I'll get my information first, and then I'll do, and I'll make my program this way. Get inputs from user, do calculations, and then results. And it's as long as I'm getting the inputs before I use those values, it doesn't matter how far forward in the program. So this kind of organizes it a little bit more. And then here, it's really set up lit sequences. And so that's kind of the program. And now it kind of goes like this. Okay, so I'm in here, 2021. Let's pick say that that should be 22nd, and the month will be, I think that's September 22nd, 2021. So it seems to be working. And so that's how we can use sequences to put together an entire program. Thank you very much.